But look at it. I can't stop looking at it. Look at it. Look at it. Look how handsome it is. Look at it. Just look at it. It's good. Late Brake Show launches are proudly supported by Continental tyres. I would like to ask you if you know what this car is, but you're already going to know because you'll have seen the title to this video. But I bet if you hadn't seen the badges on this or the title, you probably wouldn't know what this is. I've decided to review this because I think this is possibly not just the best Peugeot of the last 25 years, but I know for a fact it's the most powerful production car they've ever made. This is called the Peugeot 508 PSE Hybrid4 360 E lowercase dash EAT capital letters 8 four-wheel drive. And today I'm going to review it. Welcome to the Late Brake Show. I'm Jonny Smith. I mean, just look at the back end on it. I did the intro with the back because it just looks so good. It's a fantastic looking car, and actually badging wise at the back it's quite subtle. You've got the independent PEUGEOT, it's all murdered out because the trim's murdered out because it's the sport engineered version, PSE, Peugeot Sport Engineered. That dark rear diffuser, the dark twin tailpipes there, even the lion's murdered out. But what's odd is Peugeot's recently, like 2 weeks ago, changed their logo. The lion's a bit different, but actually on this car, the old line remains. I can't help thinking I prefer the old line. Minor point, I know. And then you got, from the rear diffuser, you've got these little winglets, little race-inspired winglets. Normally I go, bit tacky, but I just think it works. Got these extra winglets here, which I've cleaned. I've cleaned this car twice today. A, because we're filming, and B, because I just really like it. I think it looks great. You've got these optional decals, which are a delete option actually. These lines that go on the alloys, on the winglets. But you can't tell that it's a plug-in hybrid. It doesn't say it's a hybrid. It doesn't give away anything. And I kind of like that about it. It's selenium grey. Not to be confused with Audi's Nardo grey, but you know, Audi's Nardo grey is quite a cool colour. People talk about it a lot. You see it on a lot of hot Audis. Well, Peugeot's gone, I'll see you Nardo and I give you selenium grey. Of course, you can buy a cheaper Peugeot 508 SW, and you can buy the fastback, the saloon version. You don't have to buy this one, the sport engineered, more Larry one. And there are hybrids available, but I'm going to focus on this car because this is their flagship car. This is Peugeot's most powerful production car that they've made so far. And it happens to be a bloody practical one and a bloody handsome one. Where are we? Let's stick it in sport. There we go. Now, sport mode gives you the full power, 360 PS. And that's the combination of the electric motors and the engine, of course. And that's why it's four-wheel drive, because it has electric motor at the back and it has the engine at the front with some e-assistance at the front as well. Let's do a little 0 to 62 because this promises 5.2 seconds to 62. Now because wow, that's aggressive. Now because I've put it in sport mode, yeah, that's quick. That was 70 mile an hour. Because it's in sport mode, it says it digitally enhances the sound. So there's a bit of sound synthesis going on here to make it sound more aggressive and sportier than it really is. And of course the throttle and everything is sharpened up. So 0 to 62 in 5.1 seconds. 50 miles an hour to 74 miles an hour in 3 seconds. What's weird about the 508, especially in this kind of flavour, the sport engineered, I've had so many people double take, but so many people say they thought it was an Audi. I've had lots of people just go, that looks great. And it does look great. Oh, it's telling me to put 2 hands on the steering wheel. And it's got lane keep assist, and it's got autonomous emergency braking, and it's got adaptive cruise control, and it's got all that usual. It's got night vision as well. And it's got a head-up display somewhere. I've got to activate it though. Let's talk about the driving posture. Now, I read in the literature that the seat position is lower in the 508 Sport Engineered than it is in the normal 508. What did I do? I got in it, tried to put the seat down a bit more and realised that was as far down as the seat goes. And it's not low enough for me. I still feel like I'm a little bit high, and I know some French cars have done that in the past, and that's a bit of a shame, because I would like to be a little lower. I know the steering wheel's smaller, so my knees are nowhere near it. I can see the binnacle no problem, because it's a flat top steering wheel. But kind of all is forgiven really when I enjoy the rest of the car. Now, if you can possibly bring yourself to stop staring at the back end, you can then lift the boot up. I'll press this button. Power tailgate, par for the course these days. I'm not the biggest fan, but hey. But look, 530 litre boot, 1780 litres with the seats down. That is bigger than an Audi RS4, bit smaller than an Octavia VRS. But look, it's a big open space, flat entry point, enough room for a dog. Load cover, little trapdoor here for my charging cable, because of course it's a plug-in hybrid. You just forget when you look at a car like this, you just don't expect it to be a plug-in hybrid. What a good looking PHEV it is. So it's 4,750mm long. And from this side profile, you really wouldn't know it was a Peugeot, would you? Yeah, you might be able to see the lines in the centre caps, but if I take them out, look at it. It does almost out Audi, especially in this colour, which is definitely not Nardo grey. It's selenium grey. You can option it in black or white, but it actually costs you more money, and I probably wouldn't do that. You can also option it with a pano roof for about 800 quid, which I probably would do. But all you can tell from it being PSE, Peugeot Sport Engineered, are these three scratches, green scratches. There's a bit of anodised green, of course, on the body kits. It's really rather tasteful. I do really like it. 20-inch wheels, 380mm sport discs with 4-piston Sport Engineered calipers. It's a wider track than a normal 508, so it's slightly stockier but not crazy arches. In a world where the Audi RS6, for example, has I think just gone a bit too roidy, this is just right. It's an EV, and there's a number of different options there. So you can go and press e-save in this menu. There's these little piano buttons which are fantastic. I really like them. You've got the touch sensitive ones down the bottom for your climate control and your heated screens and your seats, and then you've got these piano keys which are, you know, your telephone and your car controls and your nav and your radio, your audio. But you press this one and you can reserve your battery. I've fully charged it overnight and it's showing 19 miles of EV only charge. WLTP is 26 miles. In other words, theoretically, on a good day, you can do 26 miles EV only. And that's that little gauge on the right there. If I want to increase my regen braking, I just pull the stick back again with the button in to B. It'll come up there and it means I've got slightly more dragging brakes rather than just coasting. You've got your normal speedo, it's all digital, the iCockpit setup, and this smaller wheel that's kind of shaped in the same way as the binnacle. I like the small steering wheel, I have to say I really like the steering wheel, I quite like it. Now before I start using too much of my electric energy, I want to press drive mode. I go into drive mode on this switch here, I can go comfort, there's 4 modes. Hybrid, comfort, 4-wheel drive, sport, and electric. So I'm going to go into hybrid mode. Hybrid mode will decide, depending on the throttle position, top speed, stuff like that, whether I go E only or whether I use the engine, that 1.6 under the front. But the thing that I really like about the 508 in general, but also this one, is despite the fact that this sport engineered car has got firmer suspension, which is 3-way adjustable, the ride and the control is really good. It's really good, and it's a quiet car. It's quiet even when the engine's on. Let's put it in comfort mode. Comfort mode, again, it gives you the softest suspension setting, the most relaxed gear changes. Now you can manually shift with these two paddles, which are, yeah, they're weird. They're not a full paddle that moves, they're like the switch on the end of the paddle. So you can manually override the box, the 8-speed. But I found even in sport mode, there's no real need. The 8-speed box is actually quite intuitive. It seems to understand what you want. There's this e-save mode which you can go into. Now it's telling me in French at the moment. I don't know why, but I've probably pressed the wrong button. But I can reserve the energy when I've charged the battery. So say if you unplug the car from your house, from the wall box, it's an hour and 45 to recharge fully. But you want to save the battery because you're going to go into the city or something like that. You can save in different increments. You can save 6 miles of pure EV, 12 miles of pure EV, or maximum amount. Go into charging, I can defer the charge time, so I can charge it in the middle of the night if I really want to. It's not so important in a plug-in hybrid because the battery pack's not very big. That there is a 1.6 4-cylinder direct injection turbo. There's the turbo, it's really visible. But small capacity engine with e-assistance. So there's an electric motor under there, and then there's another electric motor under the back axle, and that's how you get the 4-wheel drive with this car. That's also how you get 384 pounds-feet of torque in total. So it's 200 horsepower engine and around about 200 horsepower motor. But when you combine them, it doesn't quite make up for 400 horsepower. It's actually 360 PS. It's interesting to me that in a world where capacities are shrinking, you know, you've got the GI Yaris with a little triple cylinder, the Audi RS4 is down to 2.9 litre V6. This is tiny, but it uses that electrical assistance for efficiency and also extra grunt and cheaper tax. Bloody look at it, what a handsome thing. Can't stop taking it in. It's just so well judged. It's not over the top, it's not too manic. I think it's classy. You've got the body kit, as you say, at each corner with the little winglets, the side skirts, the 20s. Just really like it. I like the normal 508. The regular flavour 508's a great car. And like I said before, SW denotes this bit, the estate bit, stands for station wagon, although we call it estate. The EAT bit, I think, is to do with the electronic automatic transmission, which is 8-speed. That's paddles or just normal auto. And then it's hybrid, because it is a hybrid. It's actually a PHEV, a plug-in hybrid. You've got a fuel door on one side and you've got the plug-in on the other side. Electric motor at the front and electric motor at the back, so it's 4-wheel drive. In other words, it's sort of a quattro, but a clever quattro. And it's a more fuel-efficient quattro. And it's possibly a more rewarding car to drive, whilst being a damn sight cheaper to live with on a weekly, monthly basis. I can't stop looking at it. What a good looking thing. I think we live in a world where people have kind of forgotten to start looking at brands like this. We've gone a bit badge snobby, and a lot of people default to the German marques like Merc or BM or Audi and Volkswagen. But actually, Peugeot are doing some really good things right now, and I think credit where due. I think it's brilliant. Really, really like it. I'm just driving this thinking I would love people to really take notice of this and maybe have a go in it, because, like, why would I want a crossover or an SUV instead of this? Of relative size. Because I'm not going to go off-road. And if I think that it's because I want extra traction, this is 4-wheel drive if you want it to be. You just change the drive mode. Is this sort of out-Audiing Audi, but in a more cost-effective and, in a way, a more exclusive way? And I say that because you will see a lot less of these than you will highly spec'd S-Line A4 Avance or stuff like that. You know, an RS4 will do 28 miles to the gallon on a good day. I know this thing says it'll do 139 mpg combined, but even if it does half of that, it's still not bad, is it? The RS4's got a V6, 2.9 V6, full-time four-wheel drive. This has got part-time four-wheel drive with the ability to go E-only with your plug-in, much cheaper on tax, much cheaper running costs, 8-year warranty on the high voltage stuff, and it doesn't feel lesser quality. Come on. And it's urgent, you know? It's really, really urgent. I think gone are the days when you feel like you need a big motor. I mean, this is a rapid little thing. And 2022, next year, Peugeot are celebrating coming back to world endurance racing, so they'll be at Le Mans again. Peugeot have got their mojo back. I'm enjoying people just looking at this car and admiring it, because they are. Honestly, it's happening a lot. It's happened a lot in the last few days. My wife, Chops, who is the ultimate taste maker for me, for real people in the real world, she saw it when it arrived on the drive and just went, yeah, that looks great. And it does, it looks great. I just don't think you're going to see a YouTuber give much time to a car like this, because I think people these days tend to be a bit brand snobby, and they would favour an Audi over this, or they would favour a hot VW, an RVW. But I am really enjoying the 508 Sport Engineered. I think it's great. It's not without flaws. The seat won't go down far enough, and that is quite annoying. So I can't sit as low as I would have liked, although the steering wheel is small. The steering wheel is not circular, which is not ideal. I would like it to be circular, but I'm not deeply offended by it. The brakes, they're 380mm. Big 4-piston calipers at the front, discs and calipers, but they are really good. But of course you've got regenerative braking, so it's kind of got both worlds sewn up. I took my kids to school this morning, electric only, and I got 20 miles to drive, well, more if you believe the stats, more than 20 miles to drive on E only. And that's actually more useful than you think, especially if you've got a home charger. And I'm going into these corners now because this road is a little bit challenging, and it is really sticking. I can feel it, it's absolutely grabbing. I've got electric assistance at the rear. I've got the motor at the front. Depending on, I've got it in sport mode because I just want to explore how well it grips. It comes equipped with sticky tyres because it's the Sport Engineered version. Inside the 508 PSE, you've got this, well, 3 or 4 different types of textures on the seat. You've got Napa full grain leather, Alcantara, something called Mistral Black, don't know what that is. This kind of pattern material, a bit of cross stitching, dual tone stitching. It's quite hard for us to pick it up today because it's an exceptionally bright day, so I'll put some aspirational B-roll up of the interior. But needless to say, it's a good place to be, tons of headroom. I'd probably option it with the 800 quid panoramic roof, and then of course the dash, that lovely iCockpit, which I particularly like, the piano key style buttons, that faux carbon fibre, which is actually, I think, pretty tasteful, and the feel, the finish of everything is quite unlike what you've probably seen in the past from Peugeot. It's funny, I've just had a guy come up to me who's in a Peugeot, a young guy, and he's like, very polite, he just said, "I'm sorry, but I've just realised this is a Peugeot. I thought it was a Porsche or one of the Ferrari FFs." Now, he's probably giving it the ultimate compliment there. I wouldn't maybe go that far, but what I would say is that's how good this car looks, and that's how eye-catching it is. You know, it's got kind of Peugeot Sport. It's definitely got the DNA of a hot GTI. I don't really use the paddle shift because the 8-speed auto seems to really be quite well tuned and urgent enough depending on what drive mode you're in. I'm sort of being a bit gushy about it, but like, you know, a BMW only hopes to look this good. The relationship between electric motor and performance engine is good. So although the price is nearly 54 grand, which is a lot of money for a Peugeot, I'm not going to tell you that it isn't. This is the flagship car. This is a quick, luxurious, sophisticated car. But you know, the other thing to bear in mind, like when I talk about electric cars, it's the cost of ownership on a weekly or a monthly basis that you want to factor in. This will be so much cheaper to run month by month than like an RS4 Audi. When you're really getting on it, you think, I've got enough room in here for a decent dog. I've got murdered out roof rails for a bicycle or 3. I've got a nice back seat for 2 kids comfortably. But I'm getting driver thrills. I'm getting. See, I've got a very slow cyclist. I'm going to have to go around. That's ruined the flow of my video. Such a good-looking car. Such a good driving car. Such a good car. You know, a lot of like AMG type Mercs, the suspension's often too hard. A lot of BMWs have come under fire in the past for having too hard a suspension if you're going for a sportier model. This in sport mode, and it has a 3-way adaptive suspension, it's just really good, and the steering weights up. The combination of the weightier steering with the smaller diameter wheel, it works. I'm really impressed, Peugeot. You've done a really good job here. I just hope people take notice. I hope people actually care. Look, it's even got frameless doors. This thing is a style house. Everywhere I look, I just enjoy it. And I've had it now for 5 days and I'm not over it. I think that EV range is useful. There's a lot of people out there that don't want a fully electric car. There's a lot of people out there that want a hot hatch, that feeling of a hot hatch, but need practicality. We live in a world now where SUVs are so commonplace, and yet decent estate cars that can do lots of stuff are becoming extinct. And I don't want that. I think Peugeot have done an amazing job with it. And if you don't want to buy the flagship 55 grand car, which this is, you could get a lesser one, a plug-in hybrid that's still an estate. Anyway, listen, thank you ever so much for watching the Late Brake Show. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe. I want to say thank you to Continental tyres for sponsoring my launch episodes. And would you buy one of these? Would you consider one of these? Let me know in the comments.